Hey everybody, in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the new firmware update for the Nikon ZR. This is firmware version 1.1. It's the first firmware update for the Nikon ZR, and although it's relatively small as far as Nikon firmware updates go, it does add some pretty important features, and I for one have found some of these pretty useful. So let's jump into some of the details, and hopefully there's something in this firmware update that's useful for you too, depending on how you've been using your ZR so far. The first change relates to the continuous record time. Previously, the Nikon ZR could record for up to 2 hours and 5 minutes continuously. Now, it can record for up to 6 hours continuously. Obviously, your battery's going to die before you hit 6 hours, so you need to make sure that it's mains powered if you're planning on recording for that full 6 hours if you wanted to. And it also only applies to certain file formats and also to certain frame rates. To keep it nice and simple, you can record for 6 hours in anything that is 10-bit, so whether that's ProRes 422 10-bit or H.265 10-bit, you can still record 6 hours in those options, and as long as it's in a frame rate that is below 100 frames per second. So if you're shooting 25, 30, 50, 60 frame rate, then you can use up to 6 hours recording time. Anything that is more strenuous than that, so if you're recording in RAW, or if you're recording up to 100 frames per second or 120 frames per second, then you go back to the original 2 hours of maximum record time. So that 6 hour record time would be really useful if you were, for example, recording 4K at 50 or 60 frames per second in 265 10-bit, then you could record for up to 6 hours. This is particularly useful for me because I have no idea what I'm talking about, and these videos normally take me about 5.5 hours to film, even a short one like this. So that 6 hours can be really useful for things like documentaries, or if you're recording a performance, or any situation where you just want to leave your camera running for a longer period of time. That 6 hours is now just giving people more flexibility. I completely appreciate that not everyone's going to be recording for 6 hours at a time, and 2 hours is enough for most things, but at least the option's there. And just keep in mind, if you're doing anything that's Red RAW related or NRAW related, then you're going to go back to that 2 hours anyway. The second change is going to be related to how the ZR can handle its files. Now, Nikon has added in a new filing system, and this is a completely different breakaway from the filing system that we see in traditional Nikon cameras and the filing system that we have known and used in the ZR up till now. Now, you can still use that traditional filing system, or there is a new filing system that mimics RED cameras. This means that you can choose a camera ID, you can choose a reel number, a clip number. You cannot choose a camera position, that is fixed, but this is going to make it much easier for your files to be used by an editor, or much easier for you to sort through your files, especially if you're using the ZR alongside a RED, because it's a filing structure that you're used to rather than the traditional Nikon filing structure. The next change affects R3D-NE specifically. So when you're recording in R3D-NE, there's been an adjustment to the histogram and the waveform monitor. Both of these now display a red line to indicate where you'll start to lose information in your highlight. This red line will clearly indicate where the clipping point for your highlights is, meaning it's much easier to control your exposure and make sure you're not overexposing and losing any detail and any important highlights in your frame. Any signal that is above that red line is effectively going to be a clipped highlight. The next change in the firmware is related to the number of LUTs that can be displayed on the back of the camera. The number has now been increased up to 50. So you can now store 50 different LUTs on your memory card, and the camera can display all of those 50 different options to you. So you can pick and choose exactly what LUT you want to use, particularly useful if you've been using LUTs from other people or if you've been making your own. The next change in the firmware relates to timecode. The ZR can now support a wired timecode input from the 3.5mm jack. This can be turned on in the Nikon ZR by enabling an option called LTC signal input. This will then allow you to take that timecode input directly through that mic jack. You could even do a jam sync if you wanted to, and it also makes it easier when you're syncing timecode across multiple cameras. Just be aware that if you do a jam sync, that timecode sync will remain until you turn the camera off. Once you turn the camera off, that timecode sync will be lost, and you'll then have to resync all of the cameras that you're shooting with. There's also a very small but very important change in this firmware, and that relates to the behavior of the power button on the top of the Nikon ZR. Now, one of the things that has happened to me a couple of times is I feel like I've turned the ZR off, but it turns out I haven't. There's been a couple of times where I've picked my ZR up out of my bag and I've noticed that it's still been powered on. And one of the reasons for that is that in the older firmware, the power button turns off, even though the camera is still on. And so now you have the option to have the power button illuminated all the time, telling you that if the camera is on, the power button is on. So you can quickly glance to see if the camera is on. It still doesn't change color when you start recording or anything like that. It still stays lit green, but it will help me because, as I say, I've had a couple of situations where I thought I'd turned the camera off, but I hadn't, and I put it in my bag, and I come back to my bag and the camera's still on, and I'm just not keen on that in terms of kind of draining battery life and things like that. But vice versa, if you don't want the light to be on all the time, you have the choice of that turning that off, so that you can then save battery life and so on. But I, for one, am going to find that a really useful feature, just to make sure I can quickly glance at the ZR, see the green light on the top, I know that it's on, and we're ready to go. So that pretty much covers some of the changes and some of the improvements in firmware version 1.1 for the Nikon ZR. I, for one, am definitely going to find some of those changes useful, especially the extra recording time and this little green light on the top of the camera. I'm just so used to turning my camera on and off from the right hand side over here, so sometimes I either just forget or sometimes I just don't press it hard enough to turn it off. So having this green light on to tell me the camera is on is just going to be really useful, so I'm thankful for that. As I mentioned at the start, it is a smaller update compared to some of the other firmware updates that we've seen for other Nikon cameras, but it is only firmware version 1.1. I'm definitely excited about the future firmware updates for the Nikon ZR. I really feel like firmware version 1.1 is just the first step in the firmware journey when it comes to the Nikon ZR, as we've seen with firmware updates for other Nikon cameras as well. So hopefully you found this video useful. If you have any questions about firmware version 1.1, please do put them in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.